were made by people who were guilty, who've done the crime, or gotten someone to do the crime, and the other half were innocent. You got that, right? Okay. When they analyzed the text, what they found is almost twice as many of the innocent callers, so 67% in the study, asked for help for the victim than did the guilty callers. Guilty callers typically don't ask for help. Why? They already know the person's dead. Wife's been in the closet for 2 weeks. I don't need help anymore. Guilty callers tended to provide rambling information. Rambling means that you're going on and giving lots of information, so the quantity is too high in terms of Brycean principles. And you can't tell what's relevant and what's irrelevant. Incomplete truth, like saying my son can't breathe, is kind of incomplete when the truth is that you strangled your son. Yeah, your son can't breathe because your hands are around his neck. Okay, that's incomplete truth. Confusing details and extraneous irrelevant information, which is largely ego-centered. It's all about me. I. Few of the guilty 911 callers actually lied, unless they were forced to. Why? Because it's very, very hard to keep track of lies. But you can tell a little bit of the truth. Analyze this call. The dispatcher says, "What's your emergency?" The guilty caller. I need someone out here right now for my little daughter. Dispatcher, what's going on? Guilty caller. She threw up water. When she got off the stool, she was drinking water, and we told her to get down, and she threw herself down off the floor, off the stool.
Okay.
Do you understand that? Okay, that's rambling. There's a lot of information there, but you can't really get a clear picture of what's going on. Now, obviously, this could be a panic parent, but usually, when you're reporting an emergency, you're pretty much clear about what happened, or you say straight out, I don't know what happened, but this is what is. What actually happened in this situation, what is the truth, is it was a father, 2 daughters, sitting at the breakfast table in the morning. One of the daughters was his biological daughter, the other daughter was adopted. The biological daughter came second. The adopted daughter came first. This was a family that when they finally had the biological daughter said to the adopted daughter, well, we already have one from our own genes. You were only there because we couldn't have children, but now, so you're not really important anymore. The daughter who was adopted, in order to get attention from her parents, started acting up to get attention. Look at me, look at me, look at me, remember I'm your daughter. And at the breakfast table that morning, the father, again, showing his preference for his biological child, gave his daughter, the biological daughter, a glass of water. The adopted daughter was jealous, and so she took the glass from her sister. The father, upon seeing this, took his daughter, the adopted daughter, forced open her mouth, and started pouring water in. You want water? I'll give you water. Pouring and pouring and pouring, even though she was choking, even though she turned blue, even though she was unconscious on the floor. He went to the floor and kept pouring the water in the grass. Now look at the call again. What's your emergency? I need someone out here right now for my little daughter. What's going on? She threw up water. When she got off the stool, she was drinking water. We told her, where's the we? Where's the mom? Mom was nowhere in the room. We told her to get down. She threw herself down. This is all her. Another possible clue for someone being guilty when they call, blame or insult towards the dying victim in the 911 call. For example, the dispatcher says, do you know what's wrong with your daughter? The person answers, not a clue. Has she taken any medications? Maybe she threw a fit and she's very, very sneaky. She has a huge temper tantrum. She might have taken something. This is a parent who's complaining about a child. If you're in an emergency situation, you usually don't say, "The stupid brat, I can never control them, God knows where they are." A parent who calls up and says, "My son hasn't been here for 12 hours, I have no idea, he never pays attention to me, I can't control him, nobody could." That's the warning sign. The shaken baby syndrome, this is what it looks like. The shaken baby syndrome is when parents shake their children. This is another time when we are starting to see emergency telephone calls when a parent knows very well what happened before the emergency. This child is deceased, and you can see that even in death we have massive hematoma around the eyes because the brain has been slammed against the cranium. Caution though. Innocent callers in this study were much more likely than guilty ones to correct erroneous information. We talked about this before, when additional details revealed discrepancies. For example, the dispatcher said 911 went to emergency. The caller said, innocent caller, "There's a man been shot down the hall of my apartment." Dispatcher, "Can you check and see if he has a pulse?" Innocent caller, "Okay, I thought it was a man, but it's a lady. It's a lady, and I didn't feel a pulse." Someone who's guilty won't correct, because they always want to appear right. When individuals call 911 because someone is in a critical condition, they logically will ask for help for the victim, even if the callers themselves need assistance. It happens very often when the police come onto the scene or the fire department comes onto the scene. If someone you love is in danger, you say, "Help him first." Police officers might say, "You have a head injury, doesn't matter, help him first." The order in which you ask for help is also very important. The caller should not accept the victim's death before the actual condition becomes known. For instance, patrol officers who have informed a citizen that a family member has been killed in a traffic accident, like the first picture that we saw, know that people often respond with denial because of their inability to immediately process such shocking information. So it is quite often they even simply tell by the tense that a person uses. A caller who constantly talks about the victim in the past tense is extremely unusual. For those of you who have lost a loved one, you know that sometimes you still tend to use the present tense when you are talking about that person, because for you, that person is still alive. This brings us back to the car accident, which brings me back to a special request. It is the holiday season. Please, 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 have a safe trip home. Be careful out there. Have a fantastic time. Enjoy yourself over the new year. Party hard, but party safe. I'll see you when you come back. Have a good one.